Welcome to the VHS Vault. I am VHS Chase. Next to me is Jason Roy Gaston. And I've got a question. I've got a question for you. What do you get when you get a little-known Irish director, send him to New Zealand to make a film about a franchise that no one really cared about anymore? You get one of the greatest sequels I've seen in a long time, Jason.
Oh, I was going to say you get banned from New Zealand and you end up on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, but I guess we just follow different directors.
We do. This guy, Lee Cronin, has written and directed this film. He'd only made one film before, but he's a bit of an unknown. As for the New Zealand bit, the Ramings, who produced this, they've got a long history of doing a lot of productions down in New Zealand. They have a close tie there. A la Hercules and Xena, and I think Ash vs. Evil Dead was filmed down there. So they do a lot in New Zealand. Yeah. I never saw this film when it came out last year, Jason. It missed me, and I don't know why. But you did, correct?
I did, and not only did I see it, I named it one of my top 10 movies of 2023, and I will gladly die on that hill because this movie is fantastic.
It is. And I was going in, always that nerve. Like, you hear it's great, but you know that thing where people sometimes, you've got to see this film. It's magnificent. And then you see it and you go, it was all right. This lived up to the hype. 100% lived up to the hype. And you know what? I appreciate just the concept alone of taking, as your background points out, the cabin, the Necronomicon, and that scenario, and then just, nope, we're not doing that no more. We're taking it into a fresh direction. And it's cool. And it's really cool. Got a question for you, though. Mm-hmm. Got a question for you. It's a different universe. Not that we have to get into continuity, but it's a different Necronomicon.
No. See, you weren't paying attention to the dialogue.
Okay, I wasn't. I was too scared.
It canonized all 3 iterations. So it said that this is the 3rd volume of the Necronomicon that they found. The first one was the one that Ash found. The second one was from the reboot. And now we've got the 3rd one. So, Incidentally, did you catch Bruce Campbell's cameo?
No, I did not. Where was it?
It was a voice-only cameo, and he was the person objecting to the priest reading the Necronomicon on the record. The one that's going, no, stop, you don't know what you're doing. I like to think in my headcanon that's time-traveling Ash. That's actually Ash in the 19th century saying, don't do this. He's covered in blood, his shirt's ripped, and he's got a chainsaw.
That'd be cool.
You don't know what you're doing. That was a terrible Bruce Campbell.
What about the
bad?
Other important cameo that has to be in every Evil Dead film is we see the corner of it behind you, the car.
Yes.
The car. We got the car, right?
I don't know. I didn't see the car. It's gotta be. It's gotta be in there somewhere. It's gotta be. See, now I gotta go and rewatch this movie. Darn it to heck.
Because there's no way they didn't put it in there. I can guarantee it. So,
I bet it's there. I bet you we could check IMDb and find it. But you know what? The fun is finding it yourself. It's like the Pizza Planet truck in a Pixar movie. You just got to find the special. It's there somewhere. And it's encroaching in his other movies too. Because I don't know if you saw it. Because I don't know why I watched it the other day. But Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It's in that movie too, and it's in the Spider-Man movies, and it's just there everywhere.
Yeah, which is wonderful. I love that little touch that Sam does. Yes. They really infused a lot of freshness in this film.
They did, yes.
For something we've all seen before, right? This is not new. This is a trope at this point, like a possession movie and, a demon type of thing. But it's very rare at our age, Jason, that we're shocked and surprised by films, but I genuinely was shocked and surprised at several moments throughout this film.
There is something to be said. Because, so we watched the reboot last time, and we came off of it saying, that was a good horror movie, but it was not a good Evil Dead movie. That was what I said. I'm not sure how you felt, because honestly, I wasn't listening to you.
No, you never did.
But this movie, to me, was a good Evil Dead movie, and it was a good horror movie because it does do something different. Ash versus Army of Darkness did something different. It went full Looney Tunes comedy in the 13th century. This one took it to an urban setting with a family. And I think that is where most of the horror in this movie comes from, is that it's a family you like. I didn't like any of those jerkwads in the last movie. I was just like, kill them all, don't care.
Yeah.
But
See you
here,
later.
when something happened, I was like, no, Bridget, no, Danny, no.
I
Run,
think it
Cassie, run!
I think building upon it too, it's the whole idea of your mum being the
Yes.
demon. So
Yes.
everybody in the audience goes, your mother. Like, it's your mum that's doing that. So it is absolutely. And yeah, putting kids in this scenario, something we hadn't seen before in the Evil Dead franchise.
Oh, yes.
Children
And
at play.
and we're sitting there going, oh, the kids will be fine. Kid gets yeeted into a wall. Oh my God, they're not fine.
That's definitely part on the list of shocking was the fact, oh no, they're gonna kill kids in this film.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hate to say it. I laughed. I'm sorry, I laughed. There was just something about the kid going, running off camera, and then you just see him go whomp against the other wall. And I was sitting there going, I'm going to help. I just have to say, the most frightening aspect of this entire movie, you said it yourself, was the mom. Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie. Her standing at that peephole with that fisheye lens, just kind of looking at this and just smiling, that is going to be burned into my subconscious for years. And I honestly forgot how frightening that image is. She is a contortionist. So all of the bending was pure 100% Alyssa Sutherland. This is the MVP of the movie right here. I think that if her performance had not been as perfect as it was, this movie would not have been anywhere near as frightening as it was. So, Alyssa Sutherland,
I agree.
You were cheated out of an Oscar, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, horrors always do. And you think about the kind of performance she has to do. She has to go from one degree to another. She has to be the loving, independent mom who's trying to keep her family together, to this horrific demon. And like, this spoil. Obviously, we're spoiling the hell out of it. We're doing every episode.
Get off! I don't want to hear y'all complain. Don't spoil the movie. Yeah, everybody dies almost. Just stop watching.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have a 3-body problem. Not to steal from that Netflix title, but wow, Jason. Wow. And it's not only the result of it, which is funny in its own way. Show this extended scene of the kids like opening her up from the side and trying to crawl into her before she becomes that in the hallway. The two like kids are there next to her. She's upside down. They're laughing, and then they I don't have a better word. Enter her, and then become.
There could have been a better word than that, but okay.
I didn't know.
The humor in this movie, this movie has the humor that the last movie did not have, but it is a dark as pitch humor. The kind of humor you honestly feel a little bad about laughing at. And a lot of it is the ridiculousness. It's not as Looney Tunes as Ash versus Evil Dead. And you really don't think about it until after the fact, because the fact that these kids dig open their mom and crawl inside of her and make a demon, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And if somebody had told me that's what they want to do in a movie that I would be financing, I would be saying, no, you will not. But this movie makes the ridiculousness work. I mean, they spent gallons and gallons and gallons of fake blood just to do a Shining gag.
Yeah, and it was definitely a homage.
I respect that.
And I tell you what, it was organically built into the plot. I'll give it up to the makers here for this one, because even when they're referencing the old Evil Dead movies and they're paying homage to that, it's done in an organic way that doesn't feel like that last Evil Dead movie where, okay, we have to do these certain bits. No, the chainsaw and the shotgun and everything else they do, it feels naturally part of this story. Shout out to the kid performers too. Wonderful kid performers.
Yep. Morgan Davies. Morgan Davies. Do you remember where we've seen this actor before?
The name is familiar, but he kind of got me on the spot.
One Piece. One Piece. He's the one he's got the big round glasses, and he's like, I want to join the Marines. Yep.
Yes, I'm thinking Jonathan Brandis was in this. All due respect, but he kept on going. God, you look like Jonathan Brandis, but no, he
I didn't
looks
make
more
that
like the
connection,
guy
but
from
you're
One
right.
Piece.
Yeah,
he does.
and Gabrielle Eccles as Bridget, and of course Neil Fisher as Cassie. All terrific actors. You liked these characters, and whenever bad things happened to them, you were invested. You were just like, oh no, not the cheese grater, no!
Cheese grater scene's great. But you know why this works? I mean, like, this film really, and I'm going to give a big shout out to this writer and director, Lee Cronin, because the way it was shot too is a big part of why the tension and the suspense and the horror work so well. He uses shadow perfectly in this film. There's a moment where she's in the dark hallway and the kids are outside looking at this door frame, and you just see this hand come out. She goes, "Eeny, meeny, miny, you." Oh, yes. I'm like, oh, maybe pause this for a bit. Maybe we could turn on a couple of lights. Yeah. No, it was done so well. And there's even a bit when the mother first comes in as a demon and she's throwing those eggs in the pan, right? And then they would do a dual shot with the kids on, say, where I am right now, and then they do the classic old dual focus thing where she's in the foreground and the background, and you just see her side profile, and as she's smiling, you could see the turn. Even that myself, I was like, holy crap, where is this film going? And it works also because at no point throughout this movie could I guess the next scene.
Mm-hmm. There was such a old school Hollywood feel to this movie, and it wasn't just the split field diopter.
Hey, I haven't heard that term in 30 years.
There we go. It wasn't just the split screen diopter. It was just the way everything was lit.
Yeah.
The way that lights and faces were used. This movie looks like something that would have been shot in the 1960s or the 1950s. Yeah. And they took a movie, obviously from the 2020s, and shot it in that style. And it gave it this almost a timeless look. You know, despite the fact that there's
very modern.
Yes, despite the fact that there are, you know, obvious signs that it takes place, you know, contemporarily, in 10 or 15 or 20 years, this movie is still going to feel fresh.
Yeah, it's not going to age, is it?
No, it's gonna age. They're all going to age. But this one's not going to be like a movie where, hey, we have to steal a floppy disk to save the world, or quick, give me your jump drive so I can download this speech on an MP3. Put it on your Zune.
It's not going to look like. Well, it's not going to look like the film we do next week, which I'm not going to talk about yet. It wouldn't look like that.
Shut your mouth.
It does age a little bit.
We will not disparage the masterpiece we're talking about next week.
Yeah, no, it is a masterpiece. But okay, you know what? If it was Running Man that we're not, then that's probably a valid point, because I don't know if you've seen Running Man. There's a lot of spandex. Anyway, back to this epic film, and it is epic. It was a huge hit financially. The budget is quoted between 15 and 19 million, Jason, and in its domestic box office alone grossed $147 million times 10 its original budget. That is an incredible success.
It's almost like the key to success in today's film market is to control your effing budget, Disney.
Hello, filmmakers, pay attention.
I really liked the movie, but I recently heard that The Marvels is like one of the biggest box office bombs of all time, and it lost like $280 million.
Yeah.
How did a movie like The Marvels cost over $300 million to make?
Well, okay, we're not going to red pill this, because I get absolutely furious when I hear this argument. Oh, because they went woke. Bullshit. It's a good movie.
No,
it has nothing to do with that. It's a fun movie. In fact, I would argue it's probably, for me, I enjoy it more than Captain Marvel as a film.
Most definitely.
However, it's just, I don't know, it was bad time. I think it was a lot to do with fatigue, cramming too much in.
That, and they wanted you to be familiar with Marvel TV characters.
Yes.
Because Monica Rambeau shows up, Miss Marvel shows up, and the casual fan goes, Who is
Yeah.
this?
Mind you, I got to say, both those shows they come from were some of the better TV shows. Miss
Oh
Marvel's
yeah.
great.
I thought Miss Marvel was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was pretty good. WandaVision was spectacular.
Yeah, that's the jewel. That's the jewel.
But
Anyway,
I
back
think
to
Disney but dialing down the content is a good idea. And I know we're off topic. Let's get back into the blood. I'm gonna swallow your soul.
Yeah, well, that's what Bob Iger said at the stock meeting. Gotta swallow your soul.
I'll swallow your soul. I'll swallow your soul.
Hey, the record spinning.
Mickey's with the maggots now.
Mummy's. Oh, I love that line so much. Mummy's with the maggots now.
I'll
Luke,
tell you the most.
Even the
most
record spinning.
The
Yeah,
most
go on.
chilling thing about this movie, I realized if somebody's possessed, they're dead. They're dead, and you're not getting them back. Throw a
getting them
funeral
back.
for mommy. Mommy's gone.
However,
Mommy may pop up.
demons.
Yeah, mommy may pop up every now and again and says, "Save my children." But is it really mommy, or is it the demon screwing with them?
Well, let's give a shout out to demons in this universe because they're quite quippy.
Oh,
got
they're
a good sense of
great.
humor.
I wouldn't mind having one at a birthday party.
I think we should get one on here as a podcast co-host because they were good with the
Absolutely.
one-liners. Really good. It's tight film too. It's 126. Like it was an hour and a half. Sorry.
Yeah.
96 minutes, and wow, it goes really well. And what the real smart, for whole film, it also had me guessing because I'm like, what in the hell? Because I can say that because we're talking about it. Has the opening sequence have to do with this storyline? And they wait to the last moments to fill us in. How?
May I just say that those opening titles were some of the most badass opening titles I have ever seen in my entire life. Just the
yeah,
it
is iconic imagery. Her
Yes,
floating
it's
up,
great.
almost Christ-like wise, and
Yes.
there is that kind of messaging happening there subtly, and her rising up with that. Yes, I don't think I've actually. I think it goes down with like Star Wars or
Yes.
Indiana Jones, like openings of just unique, fresh takes, and yeah, like it's just wonderful. But I got to go to that record spinning because I'm
Oh,
yelling
yeah.
at the kid, going, "Okay, you play like, dude, you're hearing that? Maybe not play the second one."
I'm going to
Like,
tell you about this thing that I found, and if you hear these words, it will kill you all and
Oh,
your
it's
family, and your
so
mother
cool.
will die. Oh, I should
Oh,
keep spinning.
all the the guys that grew up in the 70s who were heavy metal stoners were loving that. Oh yeah, man, play it backwards, rock and roll.
The kids who grew up in the 80s were like, scratch it. Demon, 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 demon.
But it's and it's good because we don't. I mean, in the end, you're thinking, oh well, this is another possession movie because it's just her. And what I was wonderfully surprised about, no, we have a whole plethora of demons by the end.
Oh
Like-
my gosh, yes, we did.
Oh, I
And
love
they
the
were
neighbor, the old guy.
Yeah,
Playing
for as
against
little as he was in,
stereotype.
for as little as he was in the movie, yeah, I thought that was great. I honestly thought that the demon was going to possess the cat. I thought that the cat was going to come down, jump down, go, "That's what you saw!" And it was going to be like Monty Python flying around the apartment. I'm a little disappointed that didn't happen, but on the other hand, I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe they shouldn't have
Cats
done
are
that.
the smartest people in the room, let's face
They
it.
really are.
No, look, a wonderful cast. There is a lot of. Can I show you this though? They released a Blu-ray for this, obviously, a couple of months ago, and I just thought to myself, I would have bought this movie even if I didn't like it, based on the back cover alone. What a
Oh
way
my
to
God,
say-
no.
There's no quotes. There's no nothing. There's just a picture of a cheese grater.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
look
no,
at
that was so
the
good.
beckoning, just like, come here. Would you like some
Yeah.
nachos, my little child? Lots of
And
protein in them.
We've got to talk the cheese grater scene. Why I love it so much because it's a simple way to use a kitchen utensil that is absolutely terrifying, and people
Okay.
relate to. Yeah,
Who has not like nicked their finger on a cheese grater before? We can all
Everyone.
relate to that. So when the demons got the sister by the leg and just grabs the cheese grater, everyone in the audience goes, and because we knew what was coming, and it was just Beth, no, Beth, run.
no, Hey, shout out to the sound designer because you hear the sound of the cheese grater as it's chewing through the back of her calf.
I know.
Oh
I
my
know.
God.
There's some
It's just
sick
great.
people who made this movie, and I am in love with them.
Yeah, absolutely. But the tie-up is really kind of clever. I didn't mind the tie-up because it wasn't directly related, but it just gives the audience to know, no, this continues. It
Oh, yeah.
never stops. It's a constant battle against evil. And it, to me, it is one of the most original ways to set up a sequel, which they're currently in development of 2, Jason, is the word on the street. 2 Evil Dead movies that, this franchise is going to be very healthy going forward if they stick with this tied but anthology style of films. And that's what they should do. New setting, new location, go with it.
That being said, I have some ideas. I'm going to run by you. Hold on a second.
Please do.
Let me find my notes here. So, a cruise ship, setting on a cruise ship. We call it Evil Dead Floats. On board a first-class luxury airliner, Evil Dead flies. Inside a subway car, Evil Dead Underground.
Yeah,
call me. New line, call me. Oh, and Bruce Campbell comes back.
Yeah, in a cameo somewhere.
But yeah, we call it The Evil or Dead.
And
that's a Looney Tunes script. Bruce Campbell just goes nuts. It's a Looney Tunes script.
If I was a producer of other big IP franchises, I'd be so jealous of Evil Dead right now because you could take it anywhere, Jason. You could do anything with this franchise. And it's so, look, this is, if I was doing my top 10 of last year, this would have definitely been in it as well because it's a horror film that really lives up and is at the pinnacle of what good horror films are. It's genuinely scaring. It's atmospheric. And it sticks with you.
It does. And I was very happy because I'm such a big fan of horror, but let's face it, most horror movies suck. I was very happy because there were 2 horror movies on my top 10 last year. I don't know if you saw the other one because I believe it's an Australian movie. It's called Talk to Me.
Oh, yes, I did see Talk to Me.
Talk to Me was outstanding.
Pretty great. Actually, Aussies make...
Yeah, Aussies makes... Y'all are messed up people.
We do make some really good horror films, hey?
You walk outside and it's a horror show. Everything tries to kill you. Everything's on fire. You're just like, I wonder what'll scare me today. Oh, I got it. Cheese graters.
Well, I tell you what, there's a film called The Babadook, which was actually filmed here. And that house is exactly like the house I grew up in. Very cold, floorboards, high ceilings, early 1900s architecture. And it gives that atmosphere. So when I first saw that film, I'm going, holy crap, I know that feeling that they're presenting on there. I've felt that in houses before. And I'm not someone who believes in ghosts, but the only supernatural experience I ever had was in that house. Not particularly that house, but that style of house. So, which is...
I don't know if you remember. But do you remember whenever we first started doing podcasting and we were doing Masters of the Universe one day?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there recording with you, talking He-Man, Skeletor, blah, blah, blah. Something flies across my room and hits the opposite side of the wall. And you can see my reaction because, I just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just see me just get all freaked out. Like, there's something flying across my wall. Yeah.
And we're logical. You're a teacher. You're an educated man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not so much educated, but I'm a logical man. Like, we could logic and reason our way of most things. But that, I don't know how you explain that. Like, what I went through, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's just, it was, and it, if there is such thing as evil in the spirit world, I've definitely felt the slight touch of it.
Yeah. That podcast I'm talking about, the Masters of the Universe podcast, you can watch it. It is on this channel.
Please watch a whole lot of them. We've got, Jason, I reckon over 50 episodes that dive.
Oh, so many, and we're currently going through the Netflix reboot, and it's interesting.
Yeah, to say the least. But if you want to get into watching we do great character studies on the individual characters. And guys, if you haven't seen If you haven't seen the wonderful Netflix series from 2018, Sheeran, The Princess of Power, you're missing out. If you like shows like Gargoyles or Avatar or any great animation out there, you're going to love Princess of Power.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pink, it's bright, it's colorful, but it's genius.
It's woke.
It's woke.
And if that hurts you, good.
Yeah, that's good. That's our Evil Dead to you. So look,
I'll woke your soul. I'll woke your soul. It's woke. I can't watch it. It's woke.
Okay, I've got my idea. If you give me a budget for an Evil Dead film, you know what I would do? I would set it in Italy, and I would make it a 1960s foreign-speaking horror film. Something like Suspiria, but Evil Dead. That would rock.
That would
because Italian horror filmmakers in the 70s, man, they made some wildly outrageous films. It would fit in there.
Absolutely. Hey, call Tarantino.
Yeah.
Call Tarantino. Yeah. I don't know if he's ever thought about directing anything like an Evil Dead movie, but I bet if you called him up and said, "Hey, Quentin, Evil Dead," he'd go, "Oh my gosh, can I show feet?" And you'd have to say, yes.
Yes, you can
Evil Dead,
do the ankle scene.
Evil Dead Underfoot. Directed by Quentin Tarantino.
I go see it. I don't care. I go see it. Yeah, look, in Hollywood, it's pretty minor for him having a foot fetish compared to what the rest of him get up to.
Hey, you know what? Compared to what Harvey Weinstein was doing, Tarantino can fantasize about feet all he wants, as long as it's consensual. Exactly. As long as it's consensual, he's an adult, they're an adult. That's great.
Yep, rock and roll.
Yeah,
rock and roll. All right, Evil Dead. What a way to end this franchise, Jace.
Indeed, indeed.
Oh, look, to this point.
I would say that this is probably I'd say this is my second favorite Evil Dead movie. The first being Army of Darkness, just because it is so brash and stupid and wonderful and goofy and cartoony. And it is Bruce Campbell at peak Bruce Campbellness. But this one is definitely a second. I think that this movie is spectacular.
I need some time to think about that more, only because right now I go, man, I think this is the best. But I need time for that to settle down because it's that great.
I get you.
It's been a while since I was terrified like that.
Yes. Evil Dead Rise. If you haven't seen it now.
Go buy the Blu-ray just for that back cover.
I'm going to get that Blu-ray now. I don't collect physical media like I used to, but I think I'm going to get that one because that is beautiful.
It probably comes in a cheese grater box.
Oh, that would be amazing. The kind where you have to like nick your finger every time you open up the Blu-ray because it's got to come at a price.
Oh, by the way, before we move on, that way the Necronomicon opens, drops of blood and teeth opening.
Do you want to know what I really respected about this movie? I don't know if you caught it, but not only did it canonize all of the Evil Dead movies, but it actually took some lore from Evil Dead, the remake. Because every time something happened, for example, the combo, it would show it in the book, just like it did in Evil Dead. So this was not a movie that came along and said, we're going to make it better. We're going to act like that movie didn't happen. No, it was like, hey, this movie had some good ideas. We're going to steal it.
Yeah,
I respect that. I respect that. Even though I did not care for Evil Dead, I respect that. So yeah, good on you, Evil Dead Rises. Good on you.
All right, Jay. So we've done that. We've got to talk about what we're going to be watching now next week. This is probably high up in both of our. We were the age for this film when it came out, right? It was, in a way, this was built for
1991. I still remember when it came out. No,
you may have seen it in 91, but it was released in 1990.
1990. Okay, then I saw it. I saw it in 90 because I went and saw it in theaters.
Yeah, because there was this, and then the year after is Terminator 2. And if you haven't figured it out, folks, we're talking Total Recall.
Total Recall. Where am I? I got to go to Mars. It's
amazing. I love listening to soundtracks, and the theme for Total Recall is on a regular playlist for me. It's magnificent. And the font, how it comes, how they do their credits.
Is it me or does it remind you of Superman? I don't know. It's just like the Fortress of Solitude
Maybe.
going by. I don't know. I
Might
just
be.
love it.
Look, I can't wait to go back and watch this again.
I am really looking forward to revisiting this movie because it is one of my favorites. And it's so funny. My earliest, pardon me, my earliest memory of Total Recall is a childhood friend of my cousin's who I kind of knew. He had seen the movie the night before we were going to go see it. And my cousin said, "How was the movie?" And he said, "Oh, it sucks. Arnold Schwarzenegger gets his ass kicked every scene." And I was like, "Oh, this movie's going to suck." And then I came out of there, I was like, "Orville, you fool. This movie was a masterpiece."
That's why they named you Orville.
Yes.
Because you don't know anything. Okay. Not that has anything to do with the show. I'm not making a reference to the Orville TV show, which was first season. Genius. Anyway, that's it. We're out here.
Third season, not so much.
Not much, but that first season. You know, I just love that he went to all the old school. We can talk about this another show, but I love how he went all the old school show. Whatever. Forget it. We're done. We're out of here. That's been the VHS File. Total Recall next week. And we've got a big announcement next week about what we're going to be doing. We've covered Jason. We've covered Freddy. We've covered Ash. What's going to be next? Tune in next week on the VHS to find out. And in the meantime, support the channel. Support us by doing what, Jason?
Join our Patreon by clicking on the link in the description below. You can support our channel for as little as $5 a month. And as a member, you get exclusive content. You get feed pics if you want them. You even get, anything within reason, but the most glorious perk is one that our friend James Gibbons, who is a Patreon, takes advantage of as much as he wants. As a matter of fact, we're doing Total Recall because of him. He requests movies. And we say, absolutely, you're a Patreon. We'll do it for you. And so
he's just lucky he has really great taste.
He does. He does. We have had some Patreons say, "Can you do this movie?" And we're like, we did this movie already. It's right here.
I saw that. I'm like, yeah.
I felt so bad, link, buddy. I felt so bad. I was just like, "Hey guys, what do you want to see? Hey, can you do the Last Starfighter?"
Yeah, we done that.
Yeah, here's the link. We just did it for you.
We just rushed and filmed it, and here it is.
Jason, why is your hair shorter? Where happened to your beard? Oh, we do haircuts like they do on Grand Theft Auto. You can walk out of a barber with more hair than you walked into.
Well, mine's never really about hair, but it is beard growth. You can see beard growth changing quite dramatically over.
He's like a dirty Santa.
Yeah, like a gross chip. Like a gross chip. All right, guys, we'll see you next time on the VHS File.
I'll swallow your soul. I'll swallow your soul. Become a Patreon, and I'll swallow your soul.